A few weeks ago, I did a video about sponge filters and how good they are, but also how they suck. No pun intended, but kind of intended. Now's time to do the same thing, but with what I believe is the most common filter in the aquarium hobby, and that's hang on the back filters. This is going to be 5 reasons why these little guys win and 5 reasons why they lose. Hang on the back filters are super easy to install. I could just leave it at that, but instead I'm going to tell you a little story. My wife is a badass and can pretty much do anything. Yes, it's true, she doesn't always do things the way I would do them, but that doesn't mean she does it wrong. We have a rule that's if we have a fish problem or need an aquascape done, that's on her. If we need something done with equipment, that's me. Well, a few weeks ago, she was out here in the fish house doing some work, and one of her hang on the back filters stopped working. It was like 5 years old, and she worked that thing to death. Rather than texting me, "Come to the fish house, my filter isn't working," she grabbed this box off the shelf back there and installed it onto her tank in like 2 minutes. Problem solved. John, why did you have a brand new Penguin Pro sitting on the shelf? You don't even sell those. It's a long story. The point is, she's not a filter installing person, but she figured it out and had it running in no time at all, and that's without reading the instructions. And it's not just the Penguin Pro that we're talking about here that's easy to install. They're all easy to install. This is not a Penguin Pro. This is the Fluval AquaClear, and yes, it is equally as easy to install. And guess what? You don't need a degree in engineering to know how to do it. So here's the thing, hang on the back filters are not just easy to install. They're also super easy to maintain. Now I realize some of you grizzled veterans are gonna say, they're not easier to clean than my sponge filters. Oh really? Well, how do you do that? Well, it's real easy. The first thing I do is I take like 5 buckets and I lay them in front of the tank. I put it on top of a tarp to make sure I don't get water everywhere because this can get pretty messy. And I take a big old Ziploc bag, I put it down in the tank, fill that up with water, take my sponge filter, put it inside of there, and then disconnect the line, the air line. I got to make sure I don't squeeze it too hard though, because all the stuff will go all over the place and we want to keep things nice and neat. So once I have it disconnected from the air line, I pull the whole bag with the sponge filter out and I put it down into that first bucket. And then I squeeze the sumbitch until all that nasty brown comes out in there. But see, that leaves it all in the water. So I don't want to be sucking right back up again that nasty water. So I squeeze it out, wring it out real good, take it over to the second bucket and do the exact same thing. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. And then eventually I just continue to work my way down and I get to the last bucket. I do this 5 times until all the buckets are real nice and brown. It's still not completely clean because, you know, every single time I squeeze that sponge in that brown funky water and then I release it, it just sucks that water right back up into it again. But hey, it gets it clean enough. And the nice thing is when I'm done with doing all of that, then I take those 5-gallon buckets, I carry them outside into my backyard and I pour all that water into my flower bed to get a nice little fertilization for my plants. How do you do it? Oh, I just grab this little tray here, pull it out, take it to the sink, rinse all this off, bring it back, put it back in. Well, sponge filters are still better because that guy on YouTube says so. Ah, I see. Yeah, and you know everything that's said on YouTube is true. Uh-huh. Ha! Got him. He knows I'm right. Hey, you didn't wipe up all that water you spilled when you were cleaning out your filter and
my pancreas.
That same old cranky fish tank veteran that swears by sponge filters will also tell you they're way cheaper than hang on the backs. Well, let's investigate this, shall we? Let's say we need a filter for a 20-gallon tank. I went over to my favorite website, keepfishkeeping.com, and found that the Hydro 2 sponge filter costs $13.99. Whoa, that's super cheap, but that's not all I need. I also need an air pump, so I search up air pumps. There's 2 options. But today, I'm going to go with the cheaper version. That air pump is $10.99. So we're talking about $24.98. But wait, I also need an air line. That's another $3.99. Not a big deal. I mean, we're only talking about $28.97. Now let's talk about the Fluval AquaClear AC20. Perfect for a 20 gallon. And it's $39.99. That's $11 more than a sponge filter. But consider what you're getting. You're getting more efficiency, easier maintenance, and it's not taking up a bunch of space in your tank. When you look at it that way, it's really not that bad. And one last thing, my website, keepfishkeeping.com, carries the best hang-on-the-back filters in the business. The Seachem Tidal and the Fluval AquaClear. And because those are the best in the business, and in my opinion have the best performance and features of all the others, they cost significantly more than your average hang-on-the-back. It's kind of like comparing an Escalade to a Tahoe. Both great vehicles, but the Escalade it's just better. You can get a filter like an Aqueon Quiet Flow for a 20-gallon tank, which is a really good hang-on-the-back filter. Again, the Tahoe's good, not as good as the Escalade. The Quiet Flow is good, not as good as the AquaClear or the Tidal. But anyway, you can get one of those for $27.99. That's $1 cheaper than the whole sponge filter package. I'm just saying. Just please, I beg you, don't order some cheap Chinese knockoff off of Amazon because it's only $8. It's going to be way more headaches than it's worth. Go down to your local fish store, support them, help keep this hobby thriving. The next thing that makes hang-on-the-back filters great is their accessibility. You can get them anywhere. In fact, the Aqueon Quiet Flow that I just talked about is a filter you can pick up at Walmart when you're there buying socks and a new tool belt and some graham crackers. But it's not just Walmart. Hang-on-back filters are sold at every single big box store and your smaller mom and pop local fish stores. If your local fish store isn't carrying them, they've got a serious problem and you should question who the hell's running that place. Now, I live in a very rural area in Northeast North Carolina, and it seems like anything good is at least 35 minutes away from us. But there is a shopping complex that is exactly 35 minutes away from us. And in that one single complex, there are 4 stores that sell hang-on-the-back filters. You might have a little more difficult time finding some fancy canister filter or hydro sponge filters. That's where keepfishkeeping.com comes in. We also sell these hoodies at keepfishkeeping.com. I just don't like wearing them because then I have to admit it's cold outside. I don't like the cold. One of the things that makes canister filters so appealing is the fact that you have so much room in them to add additional media, whatever it is that you like to put in there. Extra sponges, biomedia, polyfill, whatever. Well, guess what? Most hang-on-the-back filters, well, they have that too. It's just not as big. Yes, I realize the canisters are huge and they've got way more space than this, but the point is, even on a smaller one, this is for a 50-gallon tank. You have all this room for all these things. You can take these out, which come with the filter. You can put whatever you want in there. Yeah, you're not going to be able to fit a suitcase worth of stuff in it like you can a canister, but it's there. You can do whatever you want. You've got options. And I know a lot of people that buy larger hang-on-the-back filters just because the box is bigger and they can put even more stuff in there and then just turn the flow down. And it makes it like the performance of a smaller one, but so much more room for activities.
I knew it. Okay, you guys are not going to regret this. We're going to get so much more activities done.
This is the funnest night ever.
I know it sounds like I've been just crapping all over sponge filters in this video. I promise you I'm not. I am a fan of sponge filters in certain situations. All I'm saying is you don't have options like that with sponge filters. Sponge filters, you get what you get. Hang-on-the-back filters, you can do a lot of stuff with. Now, hang-on-the-back filters are not perfect. I think they're a lot closer to perfect than sponge filters are, but still not perfect. And one of the first downsides we've got to talk about to hang-on-the-back filters is sometimes they can be a little noisy. Now, when I say noisy, I'm not talking about the pump or the unit itself. I'm talking about the flow of water from the filter to the tank. I'm someone that likes to have my water filled up in my tank all the way to the black trim, so it's not a problem for me. But here's the thing. If you let the water go down, which happens naturally due to evaporation, you'll get a waterfall sound that some may like, but for me, it makes me have to pee.
I gotta pay.
Now, this is a super easy problem to fix. Just don't let your tank go down and you'll be fine. Keep your water filled up. No big deal. And listen, in my defense, my clip that I just showed you is my tank in my bathroom. We've got mystery snails breeding in there, and they breed out of the water. And so it's kind of a necessity. My wife makes me do that. That's my excuse anyway. I've talked about this so many times, and to be honest, I'm really sick of talking about it, but it has to be said in this video. There are some hang on the back filters that if the power goes out, when it comes back on, the filter might not restart again. We had this happen to us hundreds of times when we were breeding African cichlids. We'd be at work, and while we were gone, the power would go out and then come back on. We didn't even know that it happened until we went down in the fish room and saw a bunch of tanks that had a lot of unhappy fish in it. But this isn't only a problem with power outages. Maybe you just got done doing a huge water change, you get everything filled back up, you plug the filter in and you walk away. You might come back later and find your filter never restarted. This again is a very simple problem to fix though. Just when you go to select a hang on the back filter, get one that has the pump inside the aquarium. It's sending water back to the box rather than the pump being in the box of the filter pulling water from the tank. Some brands that have the pump in the water, Seachem Tidal, Marine Land Penguin Pro, and yes, the Aqueon Quiet Flow. If that's a problem for you and you don't want a filter like that, you want the old school style with the pump in the box, well, the AquaClear is a good choice, but just be very selective over the ones that you choose. Read reviews, make sure there aren't people in there saying, hey, this thing never restarts when the power goes out. This one's pretty self-explanatory, but hang on the back filters are pretty strong, and they're strong enough to suck in your baby fish and shrimp. And believe me when I tell you, nothing will ruin your day faster than an impeller that stops working because it's stuck on a baby fish. Nobody likes that. And the worst thing about it is there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Except for getting an intake sponge just like this one. Some hang on the back filters have gotten smart and they've started including these little sponges in their filters. It's amazing. And just so you know, these sponges are available separate from the filter. One of them comes with it, but it's also available individually like this. We're out of stock of them at the moment because Fluval didn't make enough of them to keep up with demand. But the good thing too is whenever these do become available again, they'll fit on a lot of your standard hang on the back filters out there. So they're super cheap. They're like $2. And these will save a lot of little fish. Okay, this one is a little nitpicky, but it still has to be said. Most hang on the back filters are not small.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
They're not huge either, but there's really only one reason I bring this up. If you're using a sponge filter or a canister filter, you can route the airline or hoses in a way that allows you to push the tank pretty much right up against the wall. I personally wouldn't recommend doing that because then you're just going to splash water all over your wall. No matter how careful you are, it will happen. But the reason why I bring this up is because if you're going to use a filter like this, you're going to have to set it at least that far off the wall. For some of you, that might be a problem. This won't be a big deal for most, but for those that have aquariums in a very tight space, those extra few inches can really help. And I did it, didn't I? All right, this last reason why hang on the back filters lose the war between other types of filters is something that's extremely rare, and I've never had it happen to me, but People are going to mention it in the comments, so it's probably best that I just get out ahead of it. If you've been too busy watching season 2 of the Golden Girls to pay attention to your tanks, and you haven't maintained your filter and your media gets all clogged up, that water's not going to be able to flow through it. And if the water can't flow through it, where's it going to go? Well, it's going to end up going all over your living room floor. Yes, these can overflow. And it's not pretty. Like I said, this has never happened to me because it's never happened to me. I've gotten lucky, I guess. But this is another one that is super easy to prevent. Just don't let it happen. Don't be lazy and neglect your filters. Swap out your media or clean your media out, and this will never be a problem for you. So there you have it. All of the ways that hang on the back filters beat other filters, and all of the ways that they lose to those. But if you haven't figured it out by now, I absolutely love this filter type so much that we carry the 2 best hang on the back filters in the hobby on our website, keepfishkeeping.com. I encourage you, head to your local fish store first, and if they don't have it, come to us and order those. We carry the Seachem Title and the brand new Fluval Aqua Clear. We've always got them available, but again, I'd like you to get them from your local fish store first. If they don't have them, order them from us. We'll ship them right out to you. And just so you know, we carry the Hydro Sponge filters too. They're the best in the business, so that's why we have them. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye. Wait, what? The Aqua Clear and the Tidal are not the 2 best filters on the market? Well, that's just stupid. And I'm sorry to say this, but you're just wrong. And well, I'll say it to your face. Now go on. Got me all fired up today.